All right, Tuesday, May 14th, post PPI session recap. Starting off with ES here. ES definitely had the cleaner setup for today. One of the things we have been talking about over the past 24 hours, yesterday's session recap, and then again in this morning's pre-market prep live stream, was the fact that we did see bears have a pretty nice opportunity here via these two daily bars to actually force some lower prices, to force a bit of a pullback here, at least in the near term. Pullback here would definitely be healthy considering that price is now 8 or 9 consecutive sessions higher, which is getting to be a bit extreme. And one of the recent examples that I noted was from this particular day, Tuesday, May 7th, where we see a similar pattern. You have that daily time frame shooting star right through there. So that's going to be an opportunity for, again, sellers, for bears to force some lower prices. That's going to be an easy money setup, right? If you are a seller, you have a good opportunity there to actually see some follow through on the short. And so generally speaking, when we have what appears to be a very obvious setup, what I like to do is get an assessment of the strength of sellers in this case. And so on that Wednesday, we did have a blip below Tuesday's low, and that dip was instantly absorbed, instantly absorbed, and price just closed back within the prior day range, and then you get that leg higher. Now, I'd mentioned this morning, I'd mentioned that example this morning as well. And what do we have this morning, right? You have the low, 52.30, given a good opportunity for sellers to actually show some acceptance down here and actually show some type of pullback, maybe even just a red daily candle. And what do we have again? Just you get the little dip and it is instantly absorbed by buyers. Take a look at this intraday action. So if I flip to, actually, let me look at the 2-minute chart here. We'll go back and look at some of that pre-market action. Right here it is, right through here. So you get the move down below 52.30, likely grab some liquidity down here, and then 52.30 just holds as support. Right, we just see 52.30 holding as support. So again, it tells us that not really a lot of selling activity in this market, not really a lot of interested sellers here. Remember that the price will give you clues. Price will always tell a story. It's our job as traders to look at what it is telling us, regardless of what your opinions on the economy are, regardless of what your opinions are on as far as the extension move. Price is overbought, price is this, price is that, the economy is this, the economy is that. None of that actually matters for an intraday trader. It may matter in other aspects of life, but we're talking about intraday trading here, and those opinions do not matter. Only price pays us, so we strictly focus on what price shows us, not what should be happening, not what we think should happen, just objectively what is price showing. Okay, so because I bring that up because I see a lot of people online posting today, and it tends to be a lot more of these types of posts after some big directional move, and then you get economic data that may not exactly agree with what price is doing. Again, the opinions on the economic data just simply do not matter whatsoever. Only price is going to put money into your account. So again, we just focus purely on price, tune out the noise, right? So we get that bounce versus the 52.30 holds as support, and a handful of nice opportunities to be grabbing pullbacks within price near VWAP right through there on ES, and then later in the afternoon up through here using the 52.50 level of interest. Now, once price actually breaks that 5264 area, which is that near-term range high, we get the breakout move of this near-term range. Now price is kind of stalling out near that 5270. So another level we talked about this morning in the pre-market prep, let's revisit it here on the daily time frame chart. This 5270 is a huge area of resistance, right? We could see how well price has respected this area all through here. So you have kind of that initial test right through there. It breaks higher, then holds as support right through here. Look at all of the tests that actually respect that 5270 area. So this continues to be a very important zone. We really want to be assessing how price responds versus this 5270 area heading into tomorrow's CPI. So we have another big economic print tomorrow, expecting volatility around that print. I'll primarily be looking at how price responds to 5270. That'll be the main level of interest for tomorrow's session ahead of CPI, again, depending on what type of overnight action we have. If we're dealing with a gap or something like that, we'll reassess in the morning with the pre-market prep live stream. But as of right now, we really just want to be looking at how is price going to respond versus this 5270. If you actually look at this, we're not too far off of all-time highs here. That's just right up into, what is that, 53.33, talking about less than 1%, or a little bit more than 1% away, excuse me. So almost right back into those all-time highs. Definitely once that change of character ignited, that really changed the tune here, right? So pay attention to that big picture market structure. Let's jump over to NQ. NQ, as far as location, it's just back within that prior 2-month range, right? So the setup was not quite as clear as what we had with ES. We were working with an inside day this morning. One of the big levels we had talked about was the 18,200 level of interest right through here. And take a look where my cursor is right now. That is last week's volume point of control. So we know a lot of volume has been done at that 18,200 level. And as always, those point of control areas can serve as support or resistance. So the fact that we had that volume point of control there from last week, as well as the fact that it is going to be a significant level of interest. Let's take a look at that intraday action. You get a little blip below, right? Probably just a liquidity grab, holds as support, and then pretty much a trend day move higher. Some phenomenal entries in NQ today. This action is definitely worth studying. If you missed any of this, or you maybe had a misread on what the action was showing, I highly recommend going back through this NQ chart, breaking it apart, reverse engineering a little bit, try and figure out how you could have been involved with today's action. This is textbook action today in NQ, at least in my opinion. We have the 18,275 level, downside level of interest holding as support. You got that 310 level as a prior day structure level. Take a look at the prior day profile. So prior day resistance intraday, price initially struggles there, right? Once it breaks above that resistance point, then becomes support, kind of paving the way. You got to let the structure build out before you can get a move like this. So as far as what we'll be looking at for tomorrow, I mean, this has just been a pretty steady grind higher, right? When we zoom out on this 15-minute chart, it's just a drift higher, right? Now, as far as location, price is coming into a major daily pivot here, right through here. Currently poised to close in no man's land. So I'll be most interested in either a reaction versus 375 or that upside 475 area, depending on any overnight action. Ideally, we're trading near one of those levels into CPI, so we have a solid reference point to be working with. But that's NQ for today. Just continuation watch, essentially. No major resistance until we actually see a test of this 475. I would be cautious up in this area. Take a look at the daily chart, right? Obviously, previously, we've seen a lot of selling activity all through here. So that's going to be like a caution zone for continued long exposure. Want to be cautious up there. So we'll see how that 475 is treated into tomorrow. If it is tested, just take it from there. Hope everyone had a good session, profitable session. I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a good afternoon.